Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today we're going to be going over how much money you will need for the upcoming bail enforcement / bounty hunting DLC coming to Grand Theft Auto Online. Now I'm making this video pretty early. We don't actually have a trailer for this DLC yet, but I think that I have a pretty good idea of how much money this is actually going to cost you based on, the last few DLCs and how much they have cost. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp of this now. I've covered about 8 GTA Online DLCs, and I feel like what I'm going to say here is going to be pretty accurate, and I'm excited to tell you guys what I'm thinking about this next DLC, so that you guys can hopefully get prepared over the next 10 or so days. So based on the last DLC that came out in Grand Theft Auto Online back in December, that one required pretty much $30 million to buy everything that you wanted. I remember the morning that it came out, I was feeling pretty comfortable with my $26 million, but very quickly realized that I did not have enough money at all. And by the time I had covered almost everything in the DLC, I had only a few $100,000 left. And then I realized that there were police cars that I hadn't even bought yet. So realistically, it was more like $35 million on day one. Now, last DLC was a pretty content heavy DLC. We had 12 new vehicles on day one, 13 new vehicles if you include the tow truck from the chop shop as well. So that is a lot of vehicles to get. That's more than we will probably be getting in this next DLC. Most of the time we get, I would say, between 5 to 8, maybe 5 to 7 on average. So that is definitely a very vehicle heavy DLC. And then of course we also got the chop shop as well, which was another additional cost that was pretty substantial with that DLC. So last DLC, I mean, you needed about $35 million if you really truly wanted to buy every single thing day one, upgrade all the vehicles, upgrade the weapons, get the new business, max it out, everything like that. It was definitely a pretty vehicle heavy, especially DLC. However, I don't think this one is going to be nearly as heavy when it comes to vehicles, but I do think that we are going to have to fork out a ton of money if you guys do want to get the new vehicles. Now, I know obviously everybody's not going to be going for everything on day one. Most people are probably going to buy maybe 1, maybe 3 sort of new cars, maybe the new business as well. So this is for them to know how much money they're roughly going to need to have to buy every single thing. Now, we do have a couple of confirmed vehicles for this DLC. We have the new overflawed supercar, and supercars these days are going for nearly $3 million. I mean, the Imaggio was like $2,845,000, I remember off the top of my head. And then there was also all of the police cruisers and stuff like that, and those were super expensive. And we do have a confirmed new police cruiser coming into the game, as confirmed by Rockstar in their Newswire post. It said somewhere souped up police cruiser, or new souped up police cruiser. So we are going to be getting another emergency vehicle with lights and sirens presumably, and we don't really know what it is yet. It could of course be the LSPD like Buffalo. It could be the FIB Buffalo, or it could be a brand new vehicle that has lights and sirens. We just don't know yet. But I would say just for these two vehicles alone, I would say probably $6 million just for these two by themselves. And that might be a little bit on the low side of things as well, depending on that police car, because depending on what it is, it could be super expensive. I mean, the unmarked cruiser, I think with the trade price was like $2.9 million, which is insane. And without the trade price, it was like 3.8 or something like that. And then the LE cruiser was like 4 million to like 4.7 million. And then of course the Gauntlet Interceptor was like $5,400,000 without the trade price. So it's pretty easy to see how a police vehicle could definitely get itself up into that price range. Do I think it's justified? No, but Rockstar's going to charge what they're going to charge. And given that's the price of the other police cars, it's probably going to be in that sort of neighborhood, unfortunately, for most of us. So I think just with the new supercar and just with the new police car, we're looking at $6 million. And that's like a very conservative estimate. I think it's probably going to be more like $7 to $8 million for the two of them. And also this is kind of depending on performance and how Rockstar wants to value the performance, especially of that new supercar. So do keep this in mind for sure. Now, as I said before, we typically get between 5 to 7 day one vehicles. So I'd put the price just for simply vehicles at between 10 to like $13 million. However, do keep in mind that if we get more specialized vehicles with sirens, police equipment, stuff like that, militarized equipment, that price could easily shoot up to nearly $20 million, I would say. pretty easily. So, you know, it kind of makes sense. And of course, we do also have the new bounty hunting / bail agent business that is alleged to be located in Grapeseed. However, take that with a grain of salt, as we don't actually know much about it at this point. But if we do have to buy this business, I would estimate the total cost to be anywhere between $3 million from a basically spec'd business to probably more like 5.5, maybe even $6 million if you factor in, you know, all the upgrades that actually help you to make more money and maybe some cosmetic stuff as well. Probably looking at about $6 million. The chop shop was just under $6 million, I want to say, for one of the better locations with, you know, the wall safe and the extra mechanic or whatever it was. So it's probably going to be relatively expensive. Of course, we don't actually know if we even have to buy the business or not, so it might be significantly less than this. It could even be a little bit more than this. We just don't really know at this point. Now, with the last few DLCs, we've also got some new weapons, so I would say with this one, we'll probably get 1 to 3 new weapons, I would say. I think that's a pretty realistic assumption. I'd say it's probably going to be on the lower end, maybe 1 or 2. And, you know, the price tags on weapons these days in GTA are getting higher and higher. I'd say these alone are going to cost between $300K to probably $1 million if you get, you know, 1 to 3 of them. So it really depends on how many we get, mostly, but also, you know, how good the weapons are. Although Rockstar really likes to overcharge for weapons, so it wouldn't surprise me if they overcharged this time as well. Wouldn't surprise me at all. And of course, we are probably going to be getting some new clothing items, which I'm sure will have severe inflation applied to their price tags, especially for some of the really cool items that are sort of police-esque or military themed. I'd put those clothes at around, you know, $1 million to probably $2 million total for all of them if you want to get them. Plus, we're going to get some regular outfits and stuff too, I would have to assume. Now, with all of this considered, if everything is as cheap as I think it could be, and if you want to buy everything day one, I think you're going to need about $14.3 million, which I think is a very conservative estimate. I think it's probably going to be quite a lot more than that if you do want to buy everything day one. Of course, that's not factoring in upgrades for the weapons or the vehicles. So with just upgrades for weapons and vehicles, you could easily be looking at like $16 million, I would say. However, if we do go for the higher end price estimates, which I would say is probably the more likely of the two price ranges, we could be needing to fork out about $29 million, especially with upgrades for all the new vehicles factored into this. I think this is a pretty realistic assessment, but of course we could potentially get more than 5 to 7 new vehicles, and this could run up the amount of money that we are going to need to get everything from this DLC, especially given the sort of theme of this DLC, which is going to be bail enforcement, bounty hunting. I think it's pretty likely that we're going to get some police themed, you know, emergency services vehicles, maybe some militarized vehicles. So I think that could even run up the price beyond $29 million. I think that's just kind of a good benchmark for like a high end on a day one of a DLC. So I think, you know, 29 mil, $30 million is probably going to be a sweet spot to be, you know, able to maybe buy everything, but maybe not fully upgrade everything. If you really, really want to be safe, I'd say maybe go for more like 33 to $35 million. I think that's going to be like a really good place to be. But to summarize, I think you're going to need likely between $14 million to about 29 for day one, and realistically more like 33 to 35. Now, if you do want to factor in all the drip feed vehicles as well as all the other additional content, this DLC could easily end up costing about $40 million when it's all said and done, probably closer to 45 million if I'm being honest, or maybe even above that. However, for right now, I would definitely just worry about the day one stuff. Make sure that you have enough money to buy a few things that you might want. It's pretty rare to like every single thing in a DLC and want to buy absolutely everything. So for most people, I think having around maybe $15 million will be more than enough. Like if you just want to get the new supercar and whatever this new souped up police cruiser is, and you want to get the business, I think you'll be kind of, you know, in good shape there. But if you really do want more from this DLC, you're probably going to want to have more like $30 million type of thing. As a content creator, I'm making sure that I have nearly $40 million just on the off chance of getting more content than expected from this update. And I'm very, very excited to cover everything in this update as well. I think this is actually going to be one of the coolest DLCs ever for GTA Online. I kind of can't believe that it's taken them this long to do this stuff, but I am glad that we are getting this content regardless, because I think it was actually supposed to come out in 2020, a lot of this sort of stuff, but we're getting it now. So that is going to be awesome. I want to know what you guys think of my estimates though. So comment down below and let me know what you think it's going to cost to buy absolutely everything day one in this DLC. I also want to know your general feelings about this DLC. We haven't had a trailer yet, but are you feeling excited? Are you not excited? I want to hear your thoughts down below. Comment down below some vehicles that you do want to see in this new DLC. I'm really hoping for a new G-Wagon. I'm kind of praying for that. I kind of feel like it might be realistic for this DLC. I'd also like to see a Trackhawk, but I guess we'll have to see what we get. And comment down below as well what your guesses are for what this new police cruiser is going to be, because I'm very interested to know what you guys think. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If it helped you out, or if it gave you a general idea of how much money you should be having before the 25th of June 2024, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike the video of course. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new. I am of course going to be covering every single thing to do with this DLC as soon as it comes out on June 25th. So stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you're new, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.